Thank you all for being here. I want to talk about this past weekend, and here joining me is Assistant Chief Wayne Bewley, who is the Bureau Commander of our Investigative Services Bureau, and Assistant Chief Crystal Haskins, who's our Bureau Commander of our Operations. As you know, this weekend we had multiple shootings. We had a total of 10 victims, including one homicide. Each one of these shootings touched each patrol division, so in the Midtown area. So we're talking about 12th Street Division was affected, Northwest Division, Southwest Division, they were affected. One of the things that I do want to make it very clear, that we believe in all these shootings, the victims, with the exception of the 1-year-old and the caregiver of the 1-year-old, were targeted. We're very comfortable with that. I also want to make sure everybody understands that the incident that occurred at 6:30 in University did not occur on the property of a retail facility. I want to make that very clear. The survivors of the shooting ran to a location. That location happened actually on University at 6:30. It did not happen in the parking lot of a restaurant. So I want to make that very clear because that's out there, and that's unfair to the owner of the restaurant. But I just want to kind of give you a little bit, put some reality with this thing. These victims ranged from 1 year to 24 years. 1 year to 24 years. With the exception of the homicide victim, all the other victims are in stable condition. Some have gone home. It's very sad when you have someone who doesn't care about the safety of our community, and you have a 1-year-old and a person who's holding the 1-year-old that were at a food truck and they are shot. You have a 1-year-old baby that's shot. And if that in itself doesn't upset you, it should. And the thing about this is, if you want to, we don't want anybody targeting anybody, but it just shows you the carelessness of these individuals that are out here shooting. And I wanted to share with you all some pictures because I don't think that the community understands what we're dealing with. We're not talking about 32 caliber, 38 caliber. We're talking actually about fully automatic, semi-automatic weapons. All of the incidents that occurred this weekend involved assault type weapons or semi-automatic weapons that have been converted to fully automatic. Weapons that are illegally obtained, they were stolen and converted. But we're talking about assault type rifles, we're talking about semi-automatic weapons that have been modified to shoot continuously. Okay, these are not the guns that those individuals that want to abide by the Second Amendment are using. I believe in the Second Amendment. I believe people have a right to own guns. I don't believe the fact that people have a right to, in this situation, to take a gun, convert it, and use it to hurt someone in an attempt to kill someone. I'm going to say this again. These individuals, these were targeted incidents. Okay, targeted incidents that affected each of the patrol divisions. But I also want everybody to know that there's 1% of this population that has no care for other people's well-being. There's 1% of our population here in the city of Little Rock that does not care about anybody's safety. They have made a decision to target each other. So the Little Rock Police Department, our federal partners, we're going to give 100% in addressing this 1% that's causing us 99% of the problems in this city. I want you all to hear it's coming from the Chief of Police of the city of Little Rock. We are going 100% out to get these individuals that are out here targeting and putting our citizens in danger. This is ridiculous. Over 60 rounds, more than 60 rounds were fired this weekend. You're targeting somebody, but you got an innocent 1-year-old that's been hit. And so I want to talk a little bit about, before I go into any further, I want to bring Chief Bewley up to talk about what steps we're taking as far as the investigative part of it, and then I'll come back and talk about some other things. Chief Bewley?
Good morning. As the Chief mentioned, I'm Wayne Bewley. I'm the Bureau Chief over our investigative bureau here at the Little Rock Police Department. So my responsibility covers our Major Crimes Division, which homicide, robbery, our violent crimes, all of the shooting incidents that occur is investigated out of that division, out of the Major Crimes Division. I also have the Special Investigations Division, which covers our narcotics, vice, intel, and through that leg, we also have task force officers that are assigned to all of our federal partners. I think it goes without saying that there's nothing going on in the city of Little Rock right now that's any more important than the violent gun crime that we're seeing occur. Our Bureau is working very closely together. The Major Crimes Division is coordinating with our Special Investigations Division. We're sharing information and intel to our operations side with Chief Haskins. We are very concerned about the safety of the citizens that are out there, those being targeted. And as we saw this weekend, any that may be innocent bystanders when these bullets begin to fly. But we are also very concerned about our officers that are out there working, trying to make an impact, stopping cars that may have these suspects in with these automatic weapons that the chief has sent pictures out. Our detectives are still collaborating as we speak right now. They're out canvassing, talking, knocking on doors. They're trying to retrieve all of the video evidence that we can find along the way. Clearly very early on, busy weekend, it's going to take us a little bit to get through this information. But I can tell you without any question, there's nothing any more priority to us than what we're seeing this weekend and some of the uptick in violence that we have seen. We are going to leverage our federal partners that we work with closely, FBI, ATF, DEA, we work with them closely. We're going to target these weapons that are in the hands of some of these youth that we see out here committing these gun violence. And we are going to absolutely 100% go after federal prosecution, federal charges, and that comes with federal time. This is something that's already been in the works. It isn't starting because of this weekend. It will continue. And with that, other than saying we have some basic leads that we're working on, there's nothing that at this point that I can divulge. I just wanted to paint the picture that the communication among the investigative side of our department, along with our federal partners, and sharing that information with Chief Haskins and her group is working well. We're communicating well, and we are going to go after these individuals aggressively. We're going to share information to protect the citizens as much as we can, as well as our patrol officers that are out there trying to make an impact as well. So that's just, I wanted to share that from the Investigative Bureau Chief, all hands on deck, and we're 100% going after these very aggressively.
Thank you, Chief. And as I said earlier, 1%, at least less than 1% of this population are targeting each other, but at the same time, it puts other people in danger. I just want to, I've asked Mr. Edwards, he's got pictures of these weapons. And the reason I felt that was important today, because I truly believe that we have some people out here that have seen some of these kids, whether they're their own children, relatives, neighbors, whatever, in possession of these weapons. These kids are displaying these weapons, or these individuals are displaying these weapons on social media. They're displaying them in front yards. They're talking about them. They're talking about them in school. I'm gonna ask these parents, these guardians, these neighbors, these schoolmates, start checking your kids' cell phones. Start checking your kids' social media. Start looking in your kids' rooms. If you hear your kids listening to certain music, dig down a little bit deeper and see what's actually going on. Because I know this may not sound real, but a lot of this targeting is based on music, social media dialogue, where people live, if you live in a certain area and I have a problem with you, then I'm going to target you. If I have a friend that you targeted, I'm going to target you. This is what we're talking about. We're not talking about, we're talking about people that sit down and they focus on specific people. But what I need parents to do is start paying attention. We have amazing parents in this city. We have an amazing school system. But I will tell you, every now and then something slips by us as parents. Start asking your kids, start having those conversations with your kids. To our faith-based organizations, as a Little Rock Police Department chief, we will come out and talk. We will come out and talk to you about what to look for. We need this help, because I'm telling you, somebody's seen something, somebody's heard something. Small pockets is what's causing these problems. small pockets. So we don't, the thing about this is, don't take away from this press conference that we're blaming anybody. We're trying to come, we want a solution. We want reduction in violent crime. We want reduction in gun crimes. The good thing, one of the positive things that we're seeing today is that the $1.5 million violent crime reduction grants and funding is in the bidding process. So we know that we're moving forward and providing some resources or getting some resources that can help us with some long-term issues, because I'm saying this again, when you target somebody, that's a breakdown or lack of conflict resolution. I don't know how many times I got to say this. We don't know how to argue, and now kids now are going back and forth. The way they argue and they settle their problems are with weapons. And so we've got to make sure that, I want to assure the citizens of this city that your safety is the most important part of it. That's what folks like Chief Bewley said. Chief Haskins has said this before. Mr. Edwards has said this before. Your safety as a citizen of Little Rock is our priority. That is our priority. But I just want to make sure, see something, say something. These are targeted incidents. Let me make sure everybody understands, targeted incidents that we believe that the citizens of this city can help us reduce and eliminate, because somebody knows something. So if you hear somebody saying something about, I'm gonna retaliate, we need to know that. If you see a weapon, even if you don't think it's real or not, let us know. Let us make that decision if it's real or not. But like Chief Bewley said, we're going 100% federal prosecution. 100% federal prosecution on these individuals. So at this time, if we'll take a few questions.
We heard in October when Central High School was hit by some gunfire about going federally. We're going to prosecute federally. I guess no arrests have been made in that. We're hearing more about federal charges. Is federal charges just a flashy thing to say when this is obviously a continuing problem? Absolutely not.
Mitch, in the history of this organization, especially since I've been here and prior to me coming here, we have made a bunch of federal prosecutions, many federal prosecution indictments. We have individuals that are currently serving federal time. We have those cases that we've submitted. So this is not just this is nothing we planned since October. You got to understand too, I can tell you all day want to do this, but we need additional information from the citizens out here. So when we find these individuals, we are going 100% federal. So that's not just be saying it. We've talked the talk and we're walking the walk. Nothing new. We've done it. We'll continue to do it. We have an amazing relationship with our federal partners. We have officers assigned to federal task forces. So we've got the resources to continue to do this. So not a flash in the pan. This is what I'm saying this from my heart. We're going to continue to do this.
Why do you believe that there was like a connection, or perhaps that what happened over the weekend was targeted?
Based on the information that we have, the intel that we have. And like I said earlier, we have officers that are constantly out here investigating, that are currently out here investigating. And so everything that we have heard, we believe these are targeted incidents.
You mentioned that 1%. Do we know if that's a gang, a clique, or any information on that you can provide?
Yes, to both. Yes, we do have individuals that identify themselves as gangs, more cliques. They're not wearing red, they're not wearing blue, but their association and the things that they say. The citizens want me to be honest. Yeah, I mean, these people are calling themselves gangs. They're calling themselves cliques. So yeah, this targeted, this small population, yes.
Chief Humphrey, you seem very passionate about not just the victims, but the people who are shooting the people who are targeted. Talk to me just about, are you guys recognizing or seeing a certain age group who keep constantly, I guess, a part of these circumstances or situations?
Are you talking about as far as the suspects?
The suspects.
Absolutely. And I've said this before, we're talking these 15 to 23. Now that doesn't mean you have people who are older, but we're seeing it constantly as 15 to 23 age that's doing this. And that's what makes me believe, Desmond, is that how do you say a parent doesn't know? How do you say that a guardian doesn't know? How do you say, because kids talk. And I can tell you right now, for my children, I pay their cell phone. So I have access to if I'm paying for it, I have access to it. So you can't tell me that of this 1% that these parents aren't aware or they haven't heard. And so it's time for, hopefully these parents, they know if their kids are involved or not. I'm gonna say this again, 99% of our community is amazing. And it doesn't mean that these are bad parents, and I'll never say that, but we have kids that are attracted to weapons. And you can't tell me that there aren't those parents, neighbors, guardians, or someone that those hadn't seen on Facebook. And it's like, so there's just this, in fact, there's this fascination with guns and certain type of rap music, certain neighborhoods, certain cliques. There's this fascination, and we gotta stop this, and we need the community's help to do so. Because one thing we're not going to do, we're not going to blame these men and women of the Little Rock Police Department, because I will tell you that even as dangerous as this stuff is, they're out there doing their job. And another thing I didn't talk about, I don't think the citizens realize the danger of what we call three-dimensional guns, where people can actually get the diagrams and figure out how to design guns. The situation that happened in Houston where those 3 officers were shot, those were 3D designed weapons. And so you have people that are buying this information and making these weapons and altering these weapons and making them fully automatic to accomplish a situation of destroying someone or seriously hurting someone to the point of killing someone. The thing that bothers me is that a 1-year-old and a caregiver were struck. All they were doing was buying food. That's ridiculous.
So we heard about the 4, I guess in one of the incident reports, there were 4 people shot in one car, one being a 16-year-old, one being a 17-year-old, and then a couple of adults. We knew about the total number of people shot over the weekend, but we didn't know where, we didn't know the circumstances. People are saying that, they'll go to LRPD, whether it be however you guys distribute information, and they're not seeing it there. They're concerned about timely information. They're concerned about transparency. Is LRPD being timely, giving this information? I mean, it's Monday, lunchtime, and all of this was Friday and Saturday night. Why didn't we hear from you guys sooner?
Because, Mitch, one of the things that we take pride in is getting the accurate information. We can throw information out there to you, but at the end of the day, you want to know what's facts. So you want me to be able to get up here and answer your questions. We do get the information out timely. Unfortunately, there's times when the information we give out is limited, but we give out the information that we believe is needed for people to feel safe and know what's going on in their area. So we don't hide that, we're not going to say that this happened somewhere northwest. This happened at, the homicide happened at University at 6:30. You can't get any more accurate than that. And so we get the information out. A lot of times people want to hear more, but unfortunately we can't. And when we get the information, that we get it out as soon as we're probably one of the few departments that get the information out. We don't hide information. If we can't tell you, we can't tell you, but as soon as we get that information, we give it back to you. So to the citizens, the information that we provide is what we can give you at the time, and we get information out in a timely manner. But you do want information to be factual, and that's why we're here today. We want to get factual information and provide you with updates of conditions and things like that.
And Chief Humphrey, you talked about demographics. Can you elaborate on if some of the suspects are even from Little Rock, or it might be from an outside area?
I think that's information that we're still looking at, but I can tell you that all of these incidents do not involve individuals who live in our city. I'm comfortable with saying that, but I can't give you specifics of where they're from.
The caregiver and the baby that were shot on Asher, you had alluded that it didn't appear that they were targeted at all. I've been told by several officers that this was some kind of gun battle on Asher, 2 cars shooting back and forth at each other, and they were just hit by some of this gunfire. Is that true? I mean, was there a rolling gun battle in the middle of Asher Avenue?
I can tell you right now there were 2 cars involved, and there was gun fire exchange from both cars, and that's all I can tell you right now.
Was the street crimes unit working over the weekend?
Yes.
Friday night?
All of our resources that normally work were working.
Chief, can you talk about the weapons that were recovered and weapons that were used and how these youths may be getting their hands on these weapons? I
can't go into specifics regarding the weapons that were used in each incident, but what I can tell you in a broad picture, we're talking assault rifles, fully automatic. We're talking semi-automatic pistols that have been converted to fully automatic, and then long rifles that are converted. And that's what we're trying to figure out. A lot of these weapons are stolen out of cars. I've said it before. We have people cars, guns, and vehicles. They're not doing it. I mean, that's what they have a right to do if that's what they feel. But cars are broken into. We have situations where guns are being traded throughout the state. People go to different states, steal guns, and come back. They trade guns. It's very difficult to put your hands on one gun because people get rid of them, they trade them, they move them. But at the end of the day, these guns that these kids are getting based on their ages and everything, these are illegal guns, and they're altering these guns to fit their purpose and their need, and their need is to target people up to the point of killing them. And so we're still looking into where these guns, there's so many different places these guns can come from. So there's not one. Gun shows, people go and buy straw purchases. People steal guns and don't report, people have guns stolen, don't report them. We're not talking about our 32 revolvers or 38 revolvers. We're talking about high capacity, powerful weapons.
Chief, we heard, you're frustrated. I think that's pretty.
That's an understatement.
People are frustrated, probably an understatement too. If all the resources were out on the streets Friday and Saturday night, if you guys are doing everything, the pushing federal charges, I guess, what are you gonna do differently? Is there gonna be some kind of operation? Is there gonna be something with the command staff? What's gonna be different to address all of these shootings plus the homicides? Because January hasn't started very well in terms of homicides either.
Well, Mitch, I'll tell you,
Mitch,
you've seen our violent crime reduction plan. We are doing the operations that we have are some of the best in the nation. You can't stop stupid. You can't stop people that have a lack of respect for other people's lives. I'm gonna say that again. So you can't stop. We don't know what's in a person's mind. We don't know what's gonna happen behind a door. We don't know what happens off scene and then people get together. We don't know that. And so everything that we're doing, we have two of the best command staff, upper command, executive command staff leaders, I believe, in the state, what they're doing with their operations. So to say that, Mitch, what you're asking is, could we have prevented that? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And for anybody to think we could have prevented any of that, that's just not possible. I think you could have 1,000 more officers on the street, but the resources that we have and the way we deploy them and the intel and the way we meet and the way we talk and the programs that we have, we're addressing this and we're going to continue to address it. But it is nothing that we're not doing. It's not because we're not working. It's not because we're not deploying the resources. It's there. You just have people that don't have respect for other people, and you can't control stupid. You can't control a lack of a disrespect for life, and you can't project when someone just feels that that's the only way they can converse with somebody or interact with somebody, they pull a trigger. You can't control that. But what we can do is send a message out there, and I want everybody to look at me. We send a message out there. The Little Rock Police Department is zero tolerance on this, and we're going to do everything we can do to reduce this and prevent this from occurring.
Has there been any consideration of requesting state police to help patrol the city?
We already have all the resources we need in place.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.